Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, I am going to talk about a topic that has come up a lot throughout the years in why won't Raid add this mechanic that all players want that will help reduce the amount of time we have to play in game every day. It'll be a huge quality of life. It'll help us complete content that we've already cleared, that's mundane. We've killed the same Doom Tower boss a million times. Why not give us auto-complete, instant complete tickets like other games have in the gacha industry? I've played Dragon Champions and all these other games, and a lot of them have auto-complete, instant finish tickets that you can use to finish content that you've already proven you can beat. But this is never coming to Raid, so it's never going to happen, and I will explain why in this video. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so like I said in the intro, you know how it is. We all have these Doom Tower bosses that we farm all the time. You have 3-starred it, you've dominated the content. So why does the game make you run these things over and over and over thousands of times instead of giving us a way to just click, simulate all 10 battles, and then give me my loot? And even if they charge for it or whatever, with the premium pack, like the $10 a month pass or whatever, why won't this come to the game? Because it would alleviate the pressure of us having to play 3 hours a day as they keep adding more and more stuff to the game. Makes it harder and harder for us to manage our time and get everything done effectively. So why is this never going to happen? And the reason is this would completely throw off the balance of champions and the value of different champions in the game. Raid is very quickly approaching 800 different champions that they have available in the roster. And obviously, from their perspective, they want to keep as many of these champions valuable to the player. Your champions like Seer for doing a bunch of speed content, all of a sudden, Seer would not be nearly as sought after as a Void Epic if there were these auto-complete ticket scenarios where it doesn't matter that Seer unlocks the ability to do your Doom Tower stages 3 times faster because you're doing instant complete. As long as you finish the stage, if you can then instant complete it, now it doesn't matter if you use a super slow progression team just to clear the content, or if you are building a team with a Seer that's perfectly optimized with the right AI and the right gear to be able to set up your account to be able to speed farm it and save yourself time. If you could just auto complete it, all of a sudden champions like Seer would cease to have near the value they have currently. And not to mention all of your champions out there that are these specialty champions that do interesting things for certain compositions. You've got like your Euros right here, who I use to farm the Scarab. I probably wouldn't have even built a Euros or booked him if I could just use my autocomplete tickets on the Scarab. But because that isn't available in the game, what happened? I had to spend resources, I had to spend silver leveling up the gear, I had to spend the books leveling up the skills, and I had to use more gear, allocate more gear on my account towards this champion for a very specific use. If that wasn't the case, none of those resources would have been spent, and this champion would have like 2% the value that it currently has to me on my account. Now, I say all this to say that I am a player just like you. I just happen to make videos. I do wish there was a way to lower the amount of time we spend in game. So I really wouldn't be against adding a mechanic like this, adding the instant complete option to the game, or adding like an auto-complete feature. At least, you know, maybe a few of them a day. Maybe not make the whole game like that. You'll see in other games, as long as you 3-star content or clear it effectively, or you get like the max rating on that stage or whatever, that it will allow you to just click like finish and collect your loot. And because of the reasons I've stated, I don't think that's ever going to happen in Raid, but I wouldn't be against adding it in some fashion. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I just want to make sure and convey that I'm not against it. I would be all for it probably if it was done properly, but it's probably never going to happen because of those reasons. And if it were to happen, some of the champions that would be most affected would be your champions like Seer, your champions that do some of the speed farming and are really common in some of those faster teams, and especially the ones that are niche, like Ghostborn. So Ghostborn is very commonly used in like hyper speed optimized Fire Knight teams because of the guaranteed defense break, and also I've seen Ghostborn used in Spider compositions. If autocomplete tickets came to the game, Ghostborn would lose all of that value. You'd see champions like maybe Septimus, Coldheart, Zavia for sure. All of your poison detonators that are used for like speed runs and stuff like that. A lot of these champions would take a hit to their value, and the game would become a little bit more about just using a bunch of progression champions to get the 3 stars or get the perfect clear, and then that would enable you to just go ahead and auto complete that content. So what we have seen Plarium do, since they don't want to go down the instant complete auto finish mechanic, what we've seen them do instead is try to address this with super raids. Super raids are a middle ground where the player is still incentivized and still benefits from using these speed champions and building these compositions that can clear something quickly, because it still matters. Like if you do the Scarab in 1 minute instead of 5 minutes, a super raid means that that time is still impactful because you still have to actually clear the stage. It's just that it's double the impact. Now, I think that was a great addition to the game. I think super raids should almost be a permanent feature if you buy the premium pass. I think it should, like, I think the current iteration of super raids should be like the free to play way, where they give you that feature every now and then on certain things, or permanently in the Doom Tower, but only sometimes in certain dungeons. I'm fine with that being the way they do it on like some sort of a rotation in the free to play version of the game. But for the people that are buying the raid pass, the $10 a month, supporting the developer, whatever, it should just be a permanent feature. You should just be able to do super raids on dungeons whenever you want. And that is kind of how they addressed a middle ground of giving players a way to do more content faster in real time in the real world without nerfing a lot of these champions that are built around adding speed clearing to your account and having the incentives of building them. Because let's face it, the raid card system needs a definite overhaul. This has never been changed since the launch of the game. I was here for the launch of the game years ago, around early 2019, and it made sense back then. I definitely thought it was a good value, but as the game evolves and as more and more people get to the mid-game, end-game, the raid card loses value over the course of time, and I think it's time to kind of look at this and address this, because I don't think this has evolved with raid. Because when you actually take a look at the card here, you can see that it says only from campaign battles. A lot of people forget this. They don't look at this for a while and they forget it's only campaign battles. It's not just 20% extra XP and silver. It is only in the campaign, which I did a dedicated video on this like a year and a half ago, trying to analyze if the raid card was worth it. And the gist of it ended up being, it's only worth it if you're spending like 400 something energy a day in the campaign, which as you get towards the end game, as you play for 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden you spend less and less time in the campaign and you're mostly focused on doing those dungeon runs to optimize your gear. When you're a new player, you're spending almost all of your energy in the campaign because you're trying to level up as fast as possible and get to 12-3 brutal to be able to really flesh out your roster and get as many champions to 60 as you can. Once you've got 50 to 100 champions at 6-star level 60, all of a sudden you're only doing the campaign when there's something special like a champion training event or some sort of objective you have to do for a quest or a fusion going on. So sorry about the side rant there about the raid card, but it was because I think it fits the context of doing the super raid or way to clear more content in real time quicker by updating the raid card and bringing it to the current times and giving it a little bit more value as it needs to be adjusted with raid aging throughout the years. So yeah, if you've ever wondered why we will never get instant finish or autocomplete capabilities in Raid Shadow Legends, that is why I think you're never going to see it happen. And I've been saying that for years because, you know, Dragon Champions was like a big thing 2 or 3 years ago, actually 3 years ago probably, and it was like one of those side games that was trying to compete with Raid, and people saw that it had all these autocomplete tickets. These are super cool. I can just click finish and collect my loot. And I've been saying for years, you're never going to see that come to Raid as a quality of life feature because of how many champions are in Raid and how the game's incentives to build champions and build teams is kind of structured. But yeah, let me know what you think. Have you played other games where you saw this mechanic in there? Were you hopeful that it would come to Raid and all of that? I always enjoy reading through your context as well. So yeah, as always, remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy Raid Shadow Legends content. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace.